let's talk about that Arnott suspension, and we'll compare it to stock because that's pretty much all I have to go off of. Moto Mode here, back. I'm doing a review of the Arnott air ride suspension. Somebody asked about that, so I'll go over that. I'll do some pros and cons, but here's just a quick visual on them. They're just a covered shock. They do come with this black mounting hardware. I had to put the stock one back on with a couple spacers to match the other side. The top bolt snapped on me. I'll go over that. I don't think it's their fault. Maybe it just wasn't torqued down or anything like that, but I was left with one shock working, which is fine. Okay, anyways, let's go ahead and get started. I'll talk about the controls and everything like that. It is in the full upright position right now. You guys will be able to tell with how big that gap is between the back tire. I don't like that. There are the brake lights actually, too. I'll turn those on. But I'll lower it down. And it falls real low, like really low. And I love the way that looks. So when I park it, I drop it down. And you don't need to drive with it up all the time, but yeah, you guys saw how bright those headlights or those lights were, so we'll see. So let's talk about that Arnott suspension, and we'll compare it to stock because that's pretty much all I have to go off of. But the Indian Scout bobbers are known to have not a great amount of suspension travel from the factory. I think it's either 1.5 inches or 2 inches of shock travel in the rear, which is not enough. And being somebody that had a back injury in the past, I do have like a sensitive back, you know, riding for long periods of time, stuff like that is not the easiest for me. So the Indian Scout bobber OEM or the shock that they come with is not adequate. To give some perspective, I did do some preload adjustment on it. I did some preload adjustment on it, and I did give them some time to work in. I am 200-pound rider, but again, just with my back injury specifically, it just personally didn't work for me, so I had to upgrade. I looked at other options like the Fox suspension option, or Fox, I think the Fox shocks that Indian offers, the performance ones. There's like the progressives and everything like that, but from what I saw, they didn't really add much to the travel, which at the time, not knowing much about shocks, I just went for the adjustable air ride at the time. I can lower it when I want to, get that clean look, and then be able to air it up when I'm riding and have the comfort. And I can do everything in between. You know, I can lower it down, have a little bit sportier ride, or I can, you know, keep it comfortable however I want to ride. Normally how I ride is I air it up all the way and then I drop it down a bit. They do sell, so this is the hand controls to air it up. There's the left button is to air up, the right is to air down. They do sell controls that have a gauge, so if you want that and you want to be precise and have the same amount of ride comfort every time and maybe go to a few different settings and have those, you know, saved in your mind as things that you like or settings that you like. You can do that. I did not for that. I didn't really care to do that. I like the clean look of this. The other one has like a little LCD PSI gauge on it, so that's an option. What else? I like how clean they look. They look a lot cleaner than having the shock exposed. They're just a covered shock. I'll post, I think I got pictures of that, but yeah, I'll post that somewhere. So yeah, the adjustability, the covered shock, the comfort that they provide, the shock travel increase, all make them superior in my mind to the standard shock that they come with. What else? I think I had something else. But anyway, some cons, right? Oh, another pro is the installation was so easy. I mean, it's complicated, you know, but there's a lot to do. It's tedious. It takes some time. You got to mount the compressor underneath in front of the back wheel, under the back, but the instructions that Arnott gives you with this kit are so detailed. So detailed. They give you extra parts in case, a whole lot of extra air hose line in case something goes wrong, or maybe you make a bad measurement or something like that. So yeah, the installation was very easy. Pictures included, couple page document. If I still have it laying around, I'll try and take some pictures of it to give you guys an example of what that looks like, but I'm pretty sure you can also find it online if you really care to do so. If I can find a link to that install guide, install instructions for Arnott, I will do that, and I'll link it below. Some cons. Now, there's always some cons, like I said. I was going to say that before, but some cons are... it makes getting to the battery very, very difficult. So under the seat, it looks like a rat's nest. You got the air lines that go under there. You have like a little control unit that's what this connects to, that goes under there as well. I mean, it's not the worst. You don't have to disconnect everything when you go to service the battery, but you do have to like unmount it from its mounting position and then kind of move it out of the way, which is not the best, you know. That's one knock on it. And then two, when it's actually in the upright position, the highest up position, it does not look great to me. I don't like the way it looks. So that's why I tend to air it up and then kind of let a little bit of air out so I can kind of come back down a little bit. And two, when you sit on it, it does lower the bike. You know, your weight will push down on the bike and add some preload to the shock and the bags. So, you know, it's going to look better with you sitting on it versus off of it. So that is something to consider too. But I have about 10,000 miles on these Arnott airbags, and I did do a couple long trips, couple hour trips, you know, there and back, maybe like 4 hours total. And then I went to Nashville, which is about 10 hours there, 10 hours back from where I am located. So I did do a lot of short rides and a couple of long distance rides, and these were really good for me there. You know, being able to air it up and down whenever I need to, whenever I see fit. Kind of when you're going down the twisty roads and stuff like that, you air it down a little bit so you can get a little bit more sporty ride. You can kind of feel like you're one with the machine a little bit. You can kind of feel what it's doing a little better. It does have like a little ass end wobble when it's fully aired up and you're doing like a really tight turn, and let's say there's a bump in mid-turn. When the shock has to respond mid-turn, it does give a little wiggle to it, so it's not going to be the best in that sense for stability wise. That's the only thing that I've noticed that's also a knock when riding. Other than that, these Arnott shocks have been absolutely perfect for me. Again, if you're somebody with a bad back, or you just don't like the Scout OEM shocks and you want some longer distance travel in those shocks, if you want to be able to air it down when you go park it, if you do some shows or something like that and you want to just get it as low as possible, you can still ride it in the very lowest position. Again, though, every little bump you're going to feel it shoot up your back. At least that's what I do, because it's just riding on the bare minimum. So, yeah. That was just a quick little review of those Arnott shocks, the air ride suspension. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Other than that, ride safe. You guys have a good day.